There is something deeply powerful about being known by name. In Isaiah 43:1, God says, "Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine." These words are personal, intimate, and intentional. They reveal that God doesn't see us as just part of a crowd. He knows us individually. He knows our struggles, our stories, our scars, and still, He calls us His own. That kind of love brings peace to the soul and confidence to the heart. To be chosen by God is not based on merit or perfection. It's based on His grace and His divine purpose for our lives. He calls us even when we feel unworthy, even when we've failed. Being chosen means you're not forgotten, not overlooked, and not random. You are part of God's plan, intentionally placed in this world at this time for a reason that only He fully understands. God knowing your name also speaks of relationship. Names in the Bible often represented identity and destiny. When God calls you by name, He's acknowledging who you are and who you are becoming. He calls you not just as you are now, but as He sees you in His purpose, stronger, wiser, and more whole. Every time you pray and listen for His voice, remember He speaks to you personally, not generally. This truth becomes especially important when we feel lost or alone. The world may label us, judge us, or forget us, but God never does. He whispers our name in moments of stillness and calls us forward in moments of fear. His personal calling brings reassurance that we are seen, known, and valued in ways that go beyond human understanding. Waking up each morning with the awareness that God has called you by name changes everything. It shifts your focus from striving to resting in His love. You don't have to earn His attention. You already have it. You are His, not by accident, but by divine design, and nothing can take that identity away from you. Life often brings seasons that feel overwhelming, times when the pressure is intense and the burdens are heavy. In Isaiah 43:2, God promises that when we pass through waters, He will be with us, and when we walk through fire, we will not be burned. This isn't a promise to avoid trouble, but a promise of His presence in the midst of it. The floods may rise and the flames may rage, but we do not face them alone. God's presence changes everything. What might break someone else doesn't have to break you, not because of your strength, but because of His. When God walks with you, there's protection in the chaos and peace in the pressure. His presence becomes the anchor when everything around you feels like it's shifting or sinking. The storm may come, but His nearness becomes your safety. It's easy to feel abandoned in hard times, but Isaiah 43 reminds us that God's presence is not seasonal. He doesn't leave when life gets difficult. In fact, those are often the moments when His presence is felt most deeply. Just like He was in the fire with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, He walks through our personal fires, making sure we come out not even smelling like smoke. There is also purpose in the fire and flood. These trials refine us, shape us, and reveal God's power in ways we might never see in comfort. Though the journey may be painful, God uses it to bring strength, wisdom, and a testimony. His promise is not just survival, it's transformation. He brings us through, not just to every difficult place. Each new day is a reminder that you are still standing, still breathing, and still moving forward because God has been walking with you. Even when you didn't feel Him, He was there. Even when you didn't understand, He was guiding. His faithfulness is not proven by the absence of the storm, but by His constant presence within it. In Isaiah 43:4, God speaks tenderly to His people, saying, "You are precious in my sight, and honored, and I love you." These words aren't just poetic. They are deeply personal. God is not distant or indifferent. He values us beyond measure. Trusting God requires letting go of the need to understand everything. Faith is often walking forward without all the answers, but holding tightly to the truth of God's character. The Israelites had to remember how God delivered them from Egypt, parted the Red Sea, and provided manna in the wilderness. These memories of His faithfulness were meant to fuel their trust for the battles ahead. Likewise, our past victories with God become anchors in seasons of uncertainty. When we trust in God's promises, we position ourselves to receive the new things He is doing. Often, we miss out on what God wants to do next because we are too focused on what didn't happen before. But God isn't limited by our past or our perspective. He invites us to look forward with hope, believing that His plans are still good, even if they unfold differently than we expected. Trust is not passive. It's a daily choice. Each morning, we must choose to believe that God is who He says He is, faithful, loving, and present. Even when circumstances are confusing or delayed, victory comes by holding on to what He has spoken and not letting fear or doubt define our mindset. That trust becomes a shield against discouragement and a doorway to peace. Victory through remembering and trusting doesn't always look like instant answers or visible success. Sometimes it looks like peace in the storm, endurance in the waiting, and joy that doesn't depend on circumstances. But this kind of victory is deep, lasting, and powerful because it's built on the unshakable foundation of who God is and the confidence that He will finish what He started.